Assassin's Creed Valhalla is Ubisoft's most recent entry in Assassin's Creed series, as well as the third open-world RPG in the series to be released. With it comes with a new expansive story, characters, changing gameplay, etc. In this video, I'm going to go over each main core of the game and give my opinion on them, with those cores being the story, the gameplay, and music, respectively. Then, I'll finish off by giving my final thoughts on the game. With that out of the way, let's get started on the review. In Valhalla, you play a Danish Viking named Eivor through a massive adventure in late 9th century northern England, which can take you over 50 hours for just the main story itself. Valhalla's massive narrative focuses entirely on this single story quest. I enjoy the main story, despite how almost exhausting the length of it could be at certain points. The main quest is split into 15 or so smaller objectives, which takes place in many different unique regions, comprising of 3 to 4 hours in each zone. With these regions have their own story within the main story itself, in which Eivor has to go and traverse through these new regions and gain the oath of the allegiance from that region's ruling power. You usually gain this by doing whatever they need. Kill this person, kiss this person, cancel this person, etc. In my honest opinion, almost all these zones, as well as the characters set in them, were done fairly well. I actually got invested in how the stories in these zones concluded, as well as how the characters developed throughout. I'm honestly surprised on how far the game went to create this massive world and present the characters in a theatrical way, with each region having its own web of fully voiced acted characters, cutscenes, many different forms of unique terrains, etc., each feeling very distinct from each other in terms of differing stories, as well as the areas themselves. The game is so massive and diverse that within the first 30 hours or so, I was incredibly invested in the stories and problems that each area had. It made me feel like I was constantly going on these new and unique adventures. Despite some fatigue when nearing the end of the game, the story finishes off fairly well, and overall it's a good story. Valhalla offers up a large breadth of characters and an interesting cast, some characters being interesting, charming, or even outright evil a-holes. Each story has its own twists and turns and how each character's story ends. With that, the game offers a mature storytelling. At different points in the game, you have the ability to impact the decisions of the character. It can affect what routes and actions a different character will make, as well as who gets to live and die. The game will offer forms of detective-style activities where you have to find clues and figure out who did what in a certain turn of events. You could find and collect these clues and form a compact and firm decision, or you can outright accuse someone and hope to God you're correct in your assessment. I really like this feature because it gives the player the ability to put in the effort, or to be a complete lazy ass. It doesn't force it down the throats of those who rather not bother. It's an option, not a requirement. The list of characters who appear in the game is astonishing, with most characters given appropriate screen time. There are some throwaway characters in each region that don't fare nearly as well as the others, but most of them are interesting anyways, so that's not a big problem. I really believe the extra year Ubisoft took to develop this game and the story more was the right call. Valhalla ends up offering a narrative-rich, complicated, and interesting story that is filled with characters that you end up giving a crap about, mainly because of how these characters are developed throughout their personal narratives. Those are my thoughts on the story. Now, let's begin to talk about the gameplay. With Valhalla comes Ubisoft's attempt to improve upon previous gameplay mechanics that were in the previous two titles. The same attention of detail they used on the story is also being used expanding the gameplay loop, with the best part of Valhalla being that the player isn't forced to do other activities outside main story, especially content other players might not want to do. Gone are endless side quests that feels like you were given busy work. Valhalla gives you experience points for any side content or activities that you feel like doing. Recycle side quests, punishing level requirements, and level scaling are gone or replaced with overall power level that goes up as you do activities. These activities include killing enemies, defeating bosses, doing side quests, romance activities, going on raids, sieges, or even talking to someone. Basically, anything you do makes your level go up, with the level power grid offering new abilities, enhancement in health, light attack and heavy attack strength, stealth, etc. A refreshing way they handled this change is replacing the quest icon with a conversation dialogue box, where you will start a conversation which may include a couple lines of dialogue or a quest to help someone. Sometimes it can be other activities like starting a romance or even a world event that will happen naturally as you play the game. Regardless of what it is, you're going to receive experience points. I think players would like to have extra dialogue as well as additional moments of exposition and even character growth of a particular character, but don't want to feel like they wasted their time. In Valhalla, you're given this in reward for doing it, with the randomization elements helping keep players curious. It's a great system that I hope they keep for the next title. The amount of side content this game has is staggering, with each region having treasure to find, which you'll find in towns, enemy camps, enemy types, as well as some treasure being hidden in puzzles in multiple areas of the game. I like that the game makes me use my brain to figure out the puzzle and find the treasure, with part of me wishing how it shouldn't be such a hassle to find the damn treasure. The world events in Valhalla are many and include small side quests, with most of them being entirely unique and offering something different for your time. To name a couple, in one, I had to handle a dispute between two brothers over ownership of wheat. I assisted in stealing the clothes of a news colony. I had helped the family remove baskets filled with Lord who knows what before they choked to death to the odor, in which assisted in helping the family convince the father, who went by Shit Hunter, to take a damn bath. And many more of these quests are in Valhalla. Valhalla also has activities where you try to stack rocks, that also has memories of Eivor audibly play out in the background. There's also tombs to explore where the treasures of long deceased warriors reside. There's artifacts that belong to different civilizations that roamed the region in the past to collect, many different bosses to find and kill, which include a large variety of enemy types as well as movesets of said enemy. In each region, there's places where you can eat mushrooms, and they're basically having acid trips where your character is out of his mind and you need to calm him down by doing different activities. And many more activities are offered to the player in Valhalla. In terms of the combat, it is expanded upon compared to the previous titles, and you're given a more grounded and heavy feeling to it. You can dodge enemies' attacks and parry their attacks to perform a move that will either stun them or end their bloodline. You're given the ability to wield two primary weapons, like maces, swords, daggers, great swords, different forms of axes, and more. You're also able to use a bow and abilities for primary weapons and bows alike, being given 4 slots for each weapon. Stealth is also a way for the player to execute your enemies in silence. Thanks to the way the world is built, as well as the upgrades you have access to, stealth can be used at most situations, which gives the players more variety in how they want to approach different situations. Those are my thoughts on the gameplay. Now let's talk about the music. Music in the game can help add more of an emotional feeling to a story, characters, and world building. This is as important in this game as well as any other game. Assassin's Creed Valhalla probably has one of the best collections of music in Assassin's Creed game that I've heard by far. The emotions the game music gives when you enter a boss fight, enter a new region, the awful feeling of betrayal, or even just exploring an area heightens the experience even more. A great example of this is climbing up to a point of interest and having the new area be shown in a panned out camera angle while the music plays. Is fantastic. Here's an example of that. The music is just so damn good, with composers such as Sarah Shack, who did the music in Assassin's Creed Origins, as well as Jasper Kidd, who's responsible for the music in Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. The quality of the music and the soundtrack itself just becomes even greater. Those are my thoughts on the music. Now, let's go over my final thoughts. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, despite it seeming to drag a little from time to time throughout the story, offers up a rich and complex narrative with a good cast of characters, most of them receiving the right amount of development as well as impact on the story itself. The open world feeling alive and lived in with its beautiful sceneries and diverse locations, as well as the gameplay that offers off the unique experiences and expanded mechanics that add to the enjoyment of the game. Lastly, The music and soundtrack of the game is done very well, and I believe leads a new standard for the Assassin's Creed series going forward. Overall, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a fantastic game, and I would highly recommend it to anyone thinking of trying out, not only as an open world game, but as an RPG as well. Those are my final thoughts, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If not, then give it a dislike. I hope you did enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys next time.